2024, 7:02 p.m. City of Somerton regular council meeting. Can we please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance? Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call.
Mayor Gerardo Anaya,
Present.
Luis Galindo,
Present.
Councilmember Jesus Roldan,
Present.
Councilmember Miguel Villalpando, Councilmember Juan Castillo, Councilmember Marta Gonzalez,
Present.
Councilmember Lorena Delgadillo.
Present.
Mayor, you have a quorum.
Thank you.
Mayor, this is Councilman Villalpando. Sorry, I had myself on mute.
We're gonna move on. Call to the public. Anybody from the public wishing to address council?
Vivian Aaron,
Mayor and Council, welcome. It's good to see you again. Vivian Aaron, 834 North Somerton Avenue, Somerton, Arizona, phone number 928-580-8468. And today's call to the public that I'm addressing is, it's April, so it's Arbor Day month. And Arbor Day is the last Friday in April. And I just want to know, or let you know that you can do the National Day, but here in Somerton, it's so hot. If we plant the last week of April, it's hard for the trees to get a hold and go through our summer. Last year, I think there was a park planting. I don't know how many trees survived because last year was a really bad year. Even my trees that were in the ground, they suffered. So I would like to propose maybe the council consider establishing our own local Arbor Day, either in September, October, February, March, as a planting day so that the trees have a chance to get a hold before the summer hits. Because Arbor Day was started in Nebraska. Well, we have a little different climate than Nebraska. I'd like to also encourage the city to include a goal in the master plan to increase the city's shade canopy by a certain percentage, maybe by a certain year, and hopefully, you know, maybe 5% more by 2030 or 10% more by 2030 to help with shade. And I saw in the newspaper about the new park. You guys want more shade area? Now's a good time to start because it takes a good 3 to 5 years for trees to be decent size. Let's see, I saw in the budget in last week's one of the work sessions about the parks having training money. I don't know if there's funds available for maybe a park employee to become a certified arborist. So that way the city has someone that knows about trees, how to prune them, how to plant them. Because some of the pictures I saw in last year's planting, they look like they're planted a little too deep because all trees should be planted at ground level, not buried. And then on the green space for the city being maintained either by arborists or under the direction of one, not Edward Scissorhands. If we want to be known as the best little city for family, business, and events, the city's current landscape is a deterrent. We have Sisu cubes on Main Street that remind me of C's lollipops. The hockey puck Palo Verde trees on Somerton Avenue, which provide no shade for the benches in the summer or the winter. And one morning I saw a prisoner giving a crew cut to the bushes with the nice long hacksaw. And let's see, I'd like to encourage the city council and staff to visit the Arizona Department of Forestry and Fire Management website. I send it to the city webpage to share. There's a lot of good information about how to manage your water, how to plant the trees, the right tree, right place. You know, if you plant the wrong tree, APS is gonna cut it off because it's too close to the power lines. Let's see here. And increasing our shade canopy doesn't have to be expensive if we have the knowledge and people willing to share. You can propagate your own trees. You don't have to go out and buy a $50 or $100 tree all the time. If you start learning how to propagate them, that's what I do in my yard. And I have one main tree and I just keep cutting limbs off and I have more trees. And in fact, I have mulberries that I brought from some of my trees tonight, if you'd like to share. I have 2 varieties. I have many more. And I got 5 more varieties rooting right now in my home cloner. And then xeriscape doesn't have to be the only type of landscape. There needs to be a mix of green space. I saw that the council wanted to, have more shade space versus pond at the new plan over by the high school. So there should be a good mix. It shouldn't be all desert and gravel because kids and pets don't do well in gravel and it, increases our heat radiation. And promised last year, I brought the infrared thermometers. So city staff or council members can check them out, check heat the building, pavement, grass, and do their own comparison. And that's all I have. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. Yeah. I can put this over here. Thank you. Anybody else from the public? There's no one. We have 3 proclamations. The first one is Child Abuse Prevention Month.
Whereas the affliction of child abuse continues to plague our nation, with more than 600 children experiencing abuse and neglect each year, as revealed in national data. Whereas there were 1,502 victims of child abuse seen by the Advocacy Center in Yuma County in 2023, including children of various ages and demographics experiencing physical abuse, sexual abuse, and domestic violence. Whereas the most vulnerable members of our society, our youngest children, are disproportionately affected, constituting 15% of all victims and more than a quarter, 28% of child maltreatment victims being no more than 2 years old. Whereas a child abuse takes a grim toll, as reflected in the tragic loss of 1,820 children in 2021. Whereas neglect remains the most common form of abuse, affecting 76% of victims, while child and family advocacy centers play a crucial role in uncovering and addressing the deeper issue of sexual abuse, investigating 247,553 cases in 2022, representing 58% of all cases handled by CACs and FACs. Whereas child abuse and neglect are a serious problem affecting every segment of our community, and finding solutions requires input and action from everyone. And whereas our children are our most valuable resources and will shape the future of our community, state, and nation. And whereas child abuse can have long-term psychological, emotional, and physical effects that have lasting consequences for victims of abuse. And whereas a protective factors are conditions that reduce or eliminate risk and promote the social, emotional, and developmental well-being of children. And whereas effective child abuse prevention activities succeed because of partnerships created between child welfare professionals, education, health, community, and faith-based organizations, businesses, and law enforcement agencies and families. And whereas communities must make every effort to promote programs and activities that create strong and thriving children and families. And whereas we acknowledge that we must work together as a community to increase awareness about child abuse and contribute to promote the social and emotional well-being of children and families in a safe, stable, and nurturing environment. And whereas prevention remains the best defense of our children and families. Now, therefore, I, Gerardo Anaya, Mayor of the City of Somerton, do hereby proclaim April 2024 as National Child Abuse Prevention Month in Somerton and urge all citizens to recognize this month by dedicating ourselves to the task of improving the quality of life for all children and families.
I'd like to invite members of Amberley's Place to come and receive the proclamation.
Mayor, Vice Mayor, and Council, thank you for the opportunity to just speak briefly tonight about the significance of Child Abuse Prevention Month. Here in Yuma County at the Family Advocacy Center, Amberley's Place, we provide services to victims of child abuse, domestic violence, elder abuse, sexual assaults, and human sex trafficking. We served 3,309 victims last year, many from Somerton. We have a great partnership with the City of Somerton, and Chief Juarez is gracious enough to allow our victim advocate to have an office space in the police department in order to be able to provide services and 24/7 access to advocates in your city. We are truly grateful for your continued support, and our goal tonight is just to keep child abuse prevention on the radar screen of our entire community, not just in Somerton, but throughout Yuma County, because the reality is that those kids are our future, and protecting them and keeping them safe has to be the priority of every one of us in this room tonight. So thank you for your time and for your continued support of our organization and the work that we do.
Thank you. The second proclamation is National Library Week.
Whereas libraries offer the opportunity for everyone to connect with others, learn new skills, and pursue their passions no matter where they are on life's journey. Whereas libraries adapt to the ever-changing needs of their communities, developing and expanding collections, programs, and services that are as diverse as the populations they serve. Whereas libraries play a pivotal role in economic development by providing resources and support for job seekers, entrepreneurs, and small businesses, thus contributing to local prosperity and growth. Whereas libraries are treasured institutions that preserve our collective heritage and knowledge, safeguarding both physical and digital resources for present and future generations. Whereas libraries are the essential public good and fundamental institutions in democratic societies, working to improve society, protect the right to education and literacy, and promote the free exchange of information and ideas for all. Now, therefore, I, Gerardo Anaya, Mayor of the City of Somerton, proclaim National Library Week, April 7th to the 13th, 2024. During this week, I encourage all residents to visit their library and celebrate the adventures and opportunities they unlock for us every day.
Thank you. I'd like to invite a member of the library. The third proclamation is Fair Housing Month.
Whereas the Civil Rights Act of 1968, commonly known as the Federal Fair Housing Act, and the Fair Housing Amendments Act of 1988 prohibit discrimination in the sale, rental, leasing, and financial of housing or land to be used for the construction of housing or in the provision of brokerage services on the basis of race, color, religion, sex, disability, familial status, or national origin. And whereas the 1968 and 1988 Federal Fair Housing Acts declare that it is a national policy to ensure equal opportunities in housing. And whereas April has been traditionally designated as the Fair Housing Month in the United States. Now therefore, I, Gerardo Anaya, Mayor of the City of Somerton, do hereby proclaim the month of April as Fair Housing Month in the City of Somerton, and do hereby urge all citizens of this community to comply with the letter and the spirit of the Fair Housing Law.
We're gonna move on to consent agenda. We have 4 items. Approval of minutes for work session of January 16th. Approval of minutes for city council meetings of January 16th, February 6th, February 20th, and March 5th. Check register for the month of February. Discussion of possible action to readopt resolution number 2024-004. Item number 4, discussion of possible action to readopt resolution 2024-005. Does any member of council want to remove an item from consent agenda?
Mayor, if I may,
Yes,
yeah, I would like to remove 6.3. I'd have a quick question on that.
okay, 6.3 and
Yes.
Councilwoman Gonzalez, wanna move on? And 6.2, okay. So we, 6.2 and 6.3 are removed. For 6.1, 6.4, is there a motion?
So move, Mayor.
So motion by Councilman Villalpando, second by Councilman Roldan, those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Okay, 6.2,
I have just a question, an additional question. I asked, sent the city manager a few questions earlier on a few items. I got the response, but on the entertainment Tronic Sound, was that payment specifically just for the service he provided, or were payments to the bands also included in that?
That
amount?
also, Councilwoman Gonzalez, that also included a deposit to the band for entertainment. Yes.
Is there a way I can get like what was paid out of that amount?
Yeah, if you would like the breakdown, yes, we
Yeah.
can look at that and see what the contract states. Usually just for mayor and council, where usually the contract, they don't break down when we work with the different promoters. I believe they don't break down specifically what I would say is their percentage. They usually provide us a whole number. But we can look into that and see if we can get that answer for you.
Yeah, and my issue with that was it's very rare that we use a third party. It's usually our events coordinator that does the contract specifically, with the band. We don't need a third party. That's my main concern.
Okay.
item 6.3, Councilman Villalpando.
Yes, Mayor, I just wanted a little bit of clarification in regards to, there's some language in the resolution that we would be purchasing light poles, and I just want confirmation or either way from staff, whether the developer is actually gonna put in all these light poles. And then we pretty much take over, and if they need to be replaced, that's when we would buy light poles.
Good evening, Mayor, Vice Mayor, and Councilmember Villalpando. The second option that you described is the correct one. The developer would be putting in the light poles and doing the installation, and then after the right-of-way is taken over by the city, then we would just be responsible for the maintenance.
And replacement, correct? So
Correct. Yes, if necessary, yes.
just wanted to clarify that. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Any questions or comments? On these two items, do we need a motion for each item or for both?
Mayor, yes, if you pulled them, then you would have to have individual approval of the items you pulled.
Okay. Is there a motion for item 6.2, check register of month of February?
So moved, Mayor.
So motion by Councilman Roldan, second by Councilman Villalpando. Those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. For item number 3, discussion of possible action to readopt resolution number 2024-004.
So moved, Mayor.
The motion by Vice Mayor Galindo,
Second.
second by Councilman Roldan. Those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. We have a public hearing. Is there a motion to open a public hearing?
So movement.
So motion by Councilwoman Delgadillo, second by Councilwoman Gonzalez. Those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. It's a public hearing to recommend the Arizona Department of Liquor License and Control regarding transfer application of beer and wine liquor.
Mayor and Council, the Office of the City Clerk received this application on behalf of Rafid Grill. It's just a transfer of ownership. The affidavit was posted on the premises of the business for 20 days as required by state law. And my office did not receive any comments in favor or against.
Is there any member of the public here to comment? There's none. Council members, do you have any comment, questions? There's none. Is there a motion to close public hearing?
So moved.
So motion by Councilwoman Delgadillo,
Second.
second by Vice Mayor Galindo. Those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. We're gonna move on to new business. Discussion of possible action relating to recommendation to the Arizona Department of Liquor License and Control regarding a person transfer of beer and liquor license.
Mayor, this is the action item for the public hearing. We're asking for a recommendation for approval of this application.
Is there a motion? A motion by Councilwoman Gonzalez,
Second.
second by Councilwoman Delgadillo. Those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Item number 2, discussion and possible action to approve a uniform video reserve license agreement to the City of Somerton and Aloe.
Good evening, Mayor, Vice Mayor, and Council. The item before you on the agenda is the possible approval of the Uniform Video Service License Agreement, also known as a license agreement, to be signed by the City of Somerton in order to allow Aloe Arizona LLC to provide video service, including TV and internet, to the areas inside the corporate boundaries of the City of Somerton. Mayor and Council, this agreement between the city and Aloe is required for Aloe. As you know, Aloe is expanding rapidly throughout the county, and pretty soon, hopefully they will be providing fiber service to our residents. But the agreement is necessary in order for them to provide service to the city, to residents inside the city. The term of the agreement is for 10 years. And the agreement itself is a pretty standard form. All the municipalities here in Yuma County have entered into an identical agreement to what they are proposing to the city. And it has been reviewed by our legal team, our legal counsel. And tonight, staff is asking for approval of this uniform video service license agreement between the city and Aloe.
Any questions or comments?
I have a question.
Councilwoman Delgadillo?
So you said it would provide service to residents, that's all residents in the city? Including new subdivisions and, older subdivisions?
That, Councilwoman, that is correct. The agreement would allow Allo to provide service to everyone in the city. It would be existing neighborhoods, new subdivisions, apartments, commercial as well is included. So it's a blanket agreement. It covers for any kind of client that they may have.
Mayor, if I may, just wanted to let you know, we do have representatives from Allo here, so if there's any questions, they might be able to come up and give a brief summary of what this is all about, so.
Any questions or comments?
I have an additional question. The purpose of my question is because I've seen them, along the highways but I haven't seen them within the community. So if they're providing that fiber optic, don't they have to dig into the ground or?
Councilwoman, yes, that is correct. Eventually, they will have to come in here and do some physical construction. As Louis mentioned, though, perhaps someone from Allo could provide a timeline if that's something that council would be interested in hearing tonight. Mike?
Good evening, Mayor, Vice Mayor, Council. I'm Mike Horton. I'm the General Manager for Allo, Arizona. I can give you a quick update. I think to your question about that you've seen construction going through Somerton. Allo was engaged in a contract with Yuma County to build a middle mile network that basically extends from North County to South County. And so that's what we've principally done at this point through the city of Somerton, through county and city permits. What we are proposing now is to come back and to build, with the approval of the video service license agreement, ubiquitous build within the city for fiber optic communication to all businesses, homes, government, and educational institutions. So it would be to each and every living unit or business within the city limits.
Thank you so much for the information.
Yes, ma'am.
Any other questions or comments?
Mayor, if I may?
Yes.
Mike, if you could give us kind of a timeline or time frame of, when you think this, if approved tonight, the services to the residents, businesses, time frame, and how that would work?
Sure, Louis. It's a process. And obviously the first thing we need before we can really embark is to be able to get the Uniform Video Service License Agreement. As soon as we have the agreement, we are looking right now at our central office facility that we'll put up up right behind the Burger King, and that is up on Bingham is where we're looking right now with as a site location that we're just working with the landlord to get the final agreements. As soon as we have the central office site located, we can finish our engineering design, which is really the uniform design we need for our feeder and our distribution cables that will tie into the county network that carries us back up to Yuma. And that's what really interconnects the network to the World Wide Web. At that point, what we would do is we would file for permits. And as soon as the city can turn the permits around, we then look to get the blue stake. So we get underground utility locates. And at that point, we will begin underground and aerial construction. And Allo, basically, we will lay out and we will run along the lines where the electrical utility provider is. So with APS lines, and where we can attach aerial to a pole, we would attach aerial. Where the poles would fail or there are no pole lines there, we go underground. Typically from the time that we would start construction, we could turn the first neighborhood up, and we've got 6 communities. We call them ponds. So a pond is basically 1,000 rooftops, whether that's residential or business equivalent. And in the turn up of these locations, it's about 90 days to the first one, and then 30 to 45 days per. So, it is conceivable that probably within 6 to 9 months, we could have the service completely turned up. And again, that's after the preceding actions that I talked about.
Any other questions or comments? Thank you.
Thank you.
No more to say? That's it?
That's all I've got, Mayor, Council.
Is there a motion?
So move, Mayor.
So motion by Vice Mayor Galindo, second by Councilman Roldán. Those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Council.
Item number 3, discussion and possible action to accept donation from Cocopa Indian Tribe in the amount of $13,723.51.
Good evening, Mayor, Vice Mayor, Council. My name is James Jones, Park and Rec Director. The item before you tonight is regarding the donation from the Kokopah Indian Tribe in the amount of $13,723.51. The Parks and Rec staff request to use the funding for light repair and improvements at Centennial Park. Currently, we have a quote for $9,000 from D&H for lights on the legs of the water tower to be replaced, and the rest would be additional funding for additional lighting.
Any questions or comments? This first presentation, we gotta,
I was gonna
Ask 'em
say,
questions.
I haven't met you, but welcome.
come
You
on, we
haven't
gotta
been
ask them the hard
introduced.
questions.
He hasn't been introduced, so welcome to our city.
Silent. Is there a motion?
So moving.
So motion by Councilwoman Delgadillo. Second. Second by Councilman Roldán. Those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Summer current events.
Mayor, first we have Public Works.
Mayor, council, in the streets division, we're working on the crack seal on Bingham Avenue from Main Street to County 17th, Federal Avenue from Main Street to Cano, on State Street from Main Street to Spring Street, on Cesar Chavez from Yucca Street to County 17th Street. In the water division, as you notice, Apostle Robles is on track to finish in June of this year, 2024. Right now, they're approximately 65% complete. In the wastewater, we have a screw press is down currently. We should have the parts at the end of the week. And we are working on 2 booster pumps that are being serviced this week. And that concludes the summary for Public Works.
Chief Juarez.
Mayor and Council, good evening. Araceli Juarez, Chief of Police. I have news for you on the Jack in the Box that we collaborated with Jack in the Box a few weeks ago or a week ago. And it turned out very well. They gave us 20%. They're going to give us 20% of their earnings that day. I still don't have a number. I will bring a number back to you in the next presentation I have. It is Autism Day today. So our officers will be displaying some of the bands to bring awareness. We'll be reaching out with some videos out to the public to remind them and also to let you know, remind them of the awareness and the needs for us to learn more about autism. And I also want to let you know that our officers get extensive training throughout the year on autism to be able to deal with on traffic stops, to be able to deal of calls of special needs. And then the last thing I want to remind the public that we still have a program in our city webpage through the police department where you can register your special needs children or adults. This will help us to, if we come across them on the street, we'll be able to identify them immediately by a photo and we can bring your loved one safely back to your home. Thank you.
Jasmine, Economic Development.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Jasmine Samudio, Economic Development Director. I only have one item for you. On April 10th, the City of Somerton, in collaboration with SBDC, will be hosting a business branding and identity workshop with Kelly from Kelly Eyebrows. This was organized before she moved out of town, but she's still a prominent, or was a prominent figure in our town, and her branding proceeds to follow her. The workshop is open for all businesses and non-business owners. I welcome Mayor and Council to join us if you're available that day. It will be from 5 to 7. Thank you.
Then last, I'd like to introduce our new Parks and Rec Director, Mr. James Jones, and he'll be giving the summary of current events and maybe share a little bit about himself.
So Parks and Rec, first I want to thank Rodney Reinhardt. He's been working with me and making a smooth transition, answering all my questions. He's gone out of the way to help me a lot. First thing is park staff's working on the 3-year retention, zero-scape plan, removing turf and installing rock. Currently, they're working on 12th Street and Bingham Avenue. Rain kind of slowed us down. The park manager is working on the tree planting day for Earth Day on April 18th. Recreational side, we'll be hosting the boxing tournament this Saturday at the community center. Matches will start at 11 a.m. and run throughout the day. Currently, there's 15 scheduled fights. So he's assuming he'd be done about 6 or 7 at night. There'll be $5 entry fee, and they'll have concessions and music and raffles throughout the day to keep everyone involved. Our coordinator is busy working on the May 4th battle Chaladas. I don't know what else you. Originally, I'm from Michigan. I moved here. My wife's from San Luis Rio, Colorado. So we moved here to Somerton in July, and I'm excited to be here.
We're in Michigan. What you used to do?
So I'm from Fremont, Michigan, baby food capital of the world. I ran college. I went to Aquinas College, a little Catholic college. I was a teacher for 16 years before moving over. And I'm currently, I think I got 3 more classes and I got my master's, my MBA. So
Wolverine or Spartans?
Wolverine.
And that's all we have for you this
I
evening.
have a question.
Councilman,
On
sure.
the April 18th tree planting, where is that going to be held?
James?
He's gonna look to plant trees at Joe Menudo's Park. Munoz, sorry. I'm still a gringo, sorry.
Menudo will be served.
Thank you.
James, I'd requested if you could follow up with Vivian on her information. Mayor, that's all we have.
Councilman Villalpando,
I don't have anything, Mayor. Thank you.
Councilwoman Gonzalez.
A quick question to Parks. What time does the boxing event start? 11? Okay.
Yeah, it starts, well, they're weighing in at 8. Boxing will start at 11 and it should be done by 6 or 7 at night.
Okay, thank you. And vaccine clinic, they took a break in March. It'll start up again in April 11th. Same spot at the old senior center from 3 to 6. Medium informed me that the past clinics have been very successful. So that's why they're gonna continue their efforts. And it's all vaccines, COVID, school, everything.
Councilwoman Delgadillo,
I have nothing, Mayor.
Councilwoman Roldan.
Just feels nice to be back in person, Mayor. Thank you all, the city, for prayers, for your messages, for whatever. Thank you very much for that. And we're staying strong and we're doing good. And thank you for that. And thank you all for the support.
Vice Mayor Galindo.
Yes, I attended last week, WAMPO, and they have completed the street concept study, and I mentioned about County 16 and Highway 95, and I think Porchas and Reyes County Supervisor are working on that council, so I've been trying to get hold of them, but no success so far, but they're working on some live streets in that area. That's all, Mayor.
Forefront has a new person in charge, and we're gonna meet, I think, next Monday, and it's next week, so gonna get to meet him. Want to thank staff and also the council members that attended the meeting with the Cocoa Pow and the ones that cooked and prepared the program, and it was well organized, and it was a good time. And Councilwoman Delgadillo was the star of the praise. Yeah. She's still smiling. It was a great time.
It was an honor to be acknowledged by Chairwoman.
And that's all I have. 7:42. Meeting's adjourned.